In the dead of night, a masked figure lurked in California's neighborhoods, leaving behind terror and devastation. For decades, law enforcement searched for the man responsible for over 100 burglaries, 50 sexual assaults, and 13 murders. But the true horror, he was right in front of them the entire time. This is the story of Joseph James DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer. Between 1974 and 1986, communities across California lived in fear, haunted by a ruthless predator who struck without warning. He was meticulous, calculated, and seemingly unstoppable. Authorities chased countless leads, but the masked monster always disappeared into the night until decades later, when a groundbreaking discovery exposed his true identity. How did one of the most notorious criminals in American history remain undetected for over 4 decades? And how did DNA evidence finally bring him to justice? The truth is more chilling than anyone could have imagined. The reign of terror. Multiple identities, one predator. Before he was known as the Golden State Killer, Joseph James DeAngelo operated under different aliases: the Visalia Ransacker, the Area Rapist, and the original Night Stalker. His crimes escalated from burglaries and stalking to violent home invasions, sexual assaults, and murder. In Sacramento County, 1976 to 1979, DeAngelo, as the Area Rapist, would break into homes, tie up his victims, and terrorize them for hours. In cases involving couples, he displayed his most disturbing tactic. He would tie up the male partner, balance plates or dishes on his back, and whisper, "If I hear these plates move, I will kill you both." As the original Night Stalker, 1980s, DeAngelo became even more violent. In Goleta, 1981, he brutally shot Greg Sanchez in the face and bludgeoned Sherry Domingo to death. His rage-fueled attacks paralyzed communities with fear for decades, until DNA finally unmasked him over 40 years later. Crimes that shook California. From 1974 to 1986, Joseph James DeAngelo's brutal reign spread across California, evolving from petty burglaries to heinous assaults and murders. As the Visalia Ransacker, he terrorized Tulare County, 1974 to 1975, breaking into over 100 homes, scattering possessions, stealing sentimental items, and leaving behind a sense of violation. By 1976, he escalated to sexual assaults in Sacramento County. He meticulously studied his victims beforehand, breaking into their homes days prior to unlock windows, unload guns, and memorize the layouts. His psychological torment was as horrifying as the physical violence. In one attack, he threatened a mother, whispering that he would cut off her baby's ear if she didn't obey. By the 1980s, DeAngelo had become the original Night Stalker, leaving a trail of gruesome murders across Southern California. His victims, including Dr. Robert Offerman and Deborah Alexandra Manning, were bound, tortured, and killed in their own homes. Despite his cunning evasion, his crimes left a lasting scar on California's history, one that wouldn't be solved for decades, taunting the police and survivors. Joseph James DeAngelo's reign of terror extended beyond his physical attacks. He also engaged in psychological warfare by taunting both law enforcement and his victims through disturbing phone calls. These calls served to reassert his dominance and instill lingering fear long after the initial assault. In December 1977, DeAngelo contacted the Sacramento Police Department declaring, "You're never gonna catch me, Area Rapist, you dumb fuckers. I'm gonna fuck again tonight. Be careful." This call was recorded and later released to the public, exemplifying his brazen attitude toward authorities. His harassment extended to his victims as well. On January 2, 1978, a woman who had previously suffered an assault received a chilling phone call at her workplace. The caller whispered, "Gonna kill you. Gonna kill you. Gonna kill you. Bitch, 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 fucking whore." This call was also recorded and identified by the victim as the voice of her assailant. Wikipedia. Perhaps most disturbingly, in 2001, a victim received a call from DeAngelo, decades after the original attack. He chillingly asked, "Remember when we played?" This incident underscores his relentless desire to instill fear, even years after his physical presence had vanished. In another obscene call, he said, "I have not struck in a while. You will be my next victim, "I'm going to fuck you in the butt. See you soon." These calculated acts of intimidation left indelible scars on his victims and showcased his sadistic need to maintain control, perpetuating the terror long after the physical assaults had ended. A cop turned predator. The shocking revelation of a law enforcement connection. Joseph James DeAngelo was not just a predator. He was once a police officer. From 1973 to 1979, he served in California law enforcement, even working in a burglary unit while committing crimes himself. In 1979, DeAngelo was fired from the Auburn Police Department after being caught shoplifting a hammer and dog repellent, tools eerily similar to those used in his attacks. His police training likely helped him evade capture, as he knew investigative tactics and how to avoid detection. The discovery that a former officer had been one of California's most elusive criminals for decades shocked law enforcement and shattered public trust, using police tactics against his victims. Joseph DeAngelo's police training wasn't just a profession, it became a weapon. He knew how to manipulate crime scenes, erase evidence, and stay ahead of investigators. He often stalked victims for weeks, learning their routines, and even eavesdropped on police radio chatter. Survivors recalled how he wore gloves to avoid fingerprints, used pre-cut ropes for bindings, and strategically parked blocks away to escape unnoticed. His knowledge of investigative procedures allowed him to evade capture for decades, proving that his crimes were not impulsive but meticulously planned. The red flags no one noticed. Joseph DeAngelo wasn't the model officer he pretended to be. In 1979, he was fired from the Auburn Police Department for shoplifting dog repellent and a hammer, seemingly small items but ones that would later be linked to his crimes. Former colleagues described him as short-tempered and volatile, often erupting into fits of rage over minor issues. His neighbors recalled disturbing outbursts, including him screaming profanities in the middle of the night. Yet, despite these clear warning signs, no one suspected that beneath the uniform, he was the very kind of predator he was sworn to protect the public from. How DNA finally caught him, a cold case revived by science. For decades, investigators had DNA evidence from crime scenes, but no suspect to match it to. The case remained frustratingly cold until a groundbreaking forensic breakthrough changed everything. In 2018, law enforcement turned to forensic genealogy, a cutting-edge technique that uses public DNA databases to identify criminals through their relatives. Detectives uploaded crime scene DNA to Match, a genealogy site that allows people to search for long-lost family members. The results linked the DNA to distant relatives of the suspect, creating a family tree that detectives meticulously analyzed. Their search narrowed in on one man, a quiet, 72-year-old retiree living in Citrus Heights, California. After placing DeAngelo under surveillance, authorities collected his DNA from discarded trash, secretly testing it against the crime scene samples. The result, a perfect match. Joseph James DeAngelo, the elusive Golden State Killer, had finally been unmasked. The arrest that shocked the world. On April 24, 2018, law enforcement arrived at the Citrus Heights home of Joseph James DeAngelo. For decades, he had lived undetected, blending into suburban life. Neighbors described him as a quiet retiree, a man who rode his motorcycle, tinkered in his garage, and rarely interacted with others. No one suspected that behind that ordinary exterior lurked one of America's most notorious serial predators. When officers confronted DeAngelo, he offered no resistance. In an eerie moment, as they placed him under arrest, he muttered to himself, "I have a roast in the oven." After 4 decades, the man who had terrorized California was finally in custody. The chilling confession and aftermath, the deceptive courtroom act. Following his arrest, Joseph James DeAngelo appeared frail in court, slumping in a wheelchair and speaking weakly, an act many believed was meant to elicit sympathy. The stark contrast between his appearance and the sadistic predator his victims described only deepened the public's outrage. Justice for the victims. In June 2020, DeAngelo pleaded guilty to 13 murders and 13 kidnappings, finally admitting to his crimes. During sentencing, survivors and families confronted him, recounting their lasting trauma. Though largely unresponsive, He muttered a brief apology. "I listened to all your statements, each one of them, and I'm truly sorry for everyone I've hurt." Ultimately, he was sentenced to multiple life terms without parole, ensuring he would die in prison. Unanswered questions and final thoughts. Joseph DeAngelo's known crimes span 12 years, but could there be more? His methodical nature and the long gaps between some attacks suggest that additional cases may still be undiscovered. A police officer committing these crimes raises chilling questions. How did law enforcement fail to connect the dots? Could investigative mistakes, lack of forensic technology, or DeAngelo's own cunning have allowed him to slip through the cracks for decades? Now that justice has been served, one question remains. How many others like him are out there, hiding in plain sight? What do you think about the case of the Golden State Killer? Could he have been caught sooner? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned as we uncover another case that kept citizens awake at night, one that remains shrouded in mystery